Hi, this is Vicki from Grandma B's Junk Journal. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to create a small little journal with very little supplies. I am traveling right now for a few weeks, and right now I'm in Virginia. I did not bring any of my paper crafting supplies at all, and I just had an urge to create something. So I went down to the local Dollar Tree and I picked up a few things. I was trying to be very cautious of how much I was buying, but I wanted to buy enough that I could create a small journal and do it on camera, so that if some of you out there, maybe you are a beginner and you just don't have supplies, or maybe you are traveling like myself and you didn't bring anything, but you're feeling the urge to create. So anyways, a couple days ago I did a haul from the Dollar Tree, shared the different things that I purchased, and now I'm going to show you this little journal that I made, and it's very, very basic. So this is definitely beginner friendly. As I said, I do not have many supplies at all. So it is a very beginner, basic journal, but it is super cute. It would make a cute little gift. Valentine's Day is coming, and so this, if you have somebody to give a small gift to, this might just be what you need. So anyways, this journal is created from a little pack like this, and it's $1.25. There were 3 different size little notebooks, and so we're going to use all 3 of them to create a journal. I'm going to do a flip through of the one that I created, and then we're going to create one together. So again, I didn't have any supply, so I bought 1 roll of their fabric, and I'm using some of it for ties, also using some of it for tabs. And I have just ripped it. So if you haven't ripped fabric before, if you just take a little tear at the top and then tear it, it will usually come in nice strips for you. So that is what I'm tying it closed with. And then for this, I did need 2 strips, and then all I did was tie a knot in the middle to make it longer. So there you go. That's the tie that I'm using. So for this little notebook, I have used it for pockets. And what I did was, I took the small notebook, took the staples out, and then pulled the notebook paper out. And I will use this for another journal later. But then what I did was just wrap it around, and I glued the top and the bottom, left the top, the side open for this pocket. So, that was very easy to do. It looks great. And then the middle notebook is this middle section. And I just left the notebook paper in. In the haul video, I showed you some bulletin board strips that I purchased. It's a pack of 12, $1.25. And I'm using these for side pockets and just different embellishments. So I've cut 3 of those off for the side. And then this was a little notebook pad. I took a sheet of that. I also had purchased some notebook cards. So I like to use these to create tags, put photos on, journaling spots. Great to use in journals. I've just put a small piece of that fabric up here, just basically as a decorative tab. Then this right here is a page in my haul video that I did. I shared this cute little book, Too Shy to Sing, and I said that I when I'm looking for books, I look for books that have images of cute little animals or children. You know, I'm a retired teacher, and I just love to use animals and children in my journals. So I've been pulling out pages in there, fussy cutting them, using them as pages, and it just really adds the cuteness, right? It's just very cute. So then this, I put the large journal or notebook right in the center, okay? I left all of the notebook paper in it. For this, I have turned a couple sheets back, glued it open, and then put glue right here, tucked in some of the notebook papers. I fussy cut this little rabbit out, glued him on, and then this was from one of the pages. And then at the back, there's another image from one of the pages. This is a notebook, or note card, I'm sorry. I just glued it on 3 sides, made a pocket. I cut one of the hearts out from the strips, from the bulletin board strips, glued that on just as an embellishment. Put a couple of those in there. Here is another sheet from another page from the book. Excuse me. It's actually a treat, and I shared this in the last video. I bought a package of snack boxes, Valentine snack boxes. There were a couple of different styles to choose from. It was $1.50, but from each of those snack boxes, you can get 4 pockets. So that's 24 pockets for that one package. So what I did was I cut this apart, and then it is scored along the sides, and so you just cut it, and then you can use it as a pocket. So I've put some of the heart strips on there, the bulletin board strips. I've put that in there, so just as a cute piece of ephemera. It could be used as a bookmark. You could journal on the back. You could put a little photo on the back. I fussy cut one down here just to, use as an embellishment. So I thought that was really cute. And another fabric tab. Oops, let's see. All right, so then on the back, I used one of the index cards, cut 2 strips and made pockets. And then I cut one of the note cards apart just for a little tag here. So very minimal supplies, but you can do so much. And then I put the other side of the small notebook cover is a pocket on the back. And there you have it. Excuse me, my goodness. Okay, so there is this cute little journal created from one of these packs. How cute is that, right? I love it. It is so cute, so easy. We are going to put one together here today. So these 3 came in a pack. I have taken it apart, and I went ahead and took the staples out, and I pulled out the paper that was in there because I'm going to use this just like the other journal. I'm going to put it use it for a pocket in the front. And then I'm just going to kind of layer this in here. I'm not going to take any of these out. I'm just going to leave that paper right in, and I'm going to find the middle of it. And the middle is where the staple is. You'll see the staples right here, so you know that's the middle. And then that's going to slide just like that, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is, now I shared in the other video that I just picked up this tacky glue at the Dollar Tree. I do like the art glitter glue. That is my go-to glue, but like I said, I didn't bring any of my supplies and my studio is back home in Michigan, so I am bare minimum here. But this tacky glue worked really well. And so all I did, and I'm just gonna, and this can be done many different ways. I'm just gonna do this where it's gonna be the fastest, the easiest for me, and it's gonna work, okay? So I'm just going to put a little bit of this tacky glue right on the edge like this, and just going to flatten it out. I'm going to leave this open because that's going to be our pocket, okay? Now for this, I also got I got 3 different spools of ribbon. So I've already cut this, and I'm just going to use, now this, it worked really well. But I mean, I let it dry a bit when I was making the other one because I didn't do it on with my camera going, or my video going, but that's fine. I'm just gonna go like this, and then I'll be really careful when I'm working on this journal. I want to grab just an index card, make sure that I'm not gluing it together here. Okay. All right, so that is to the front. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to the back, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put some glue here, and I'm gonna put some glue here. Now, since I'm not home and I don't have all of my supplies, and I was trying to be really thrifty, it didn't really work, I gotta say. I was trying, but you know how that goes. I don't have a lot of ribbon here with me, so I am not going to put ribbon on the back. If I was home and, I had my large stash that I do, I would really put lots of embellishment, lots of ribbons and lace and all of that, but I don't. And so and I have some other projects that I want to create with the little bit that I do have. So I'm really just gonna kind of focus on the front. Okay, so we have this front pocket from this small notebook. Then we have the middle notebook, okay? Then we have the large notebook in the middle. I went ahead and cut some ribbon because one of the spools that I got was this lace. And there, I like using that from the Dollar Tree. It's unfortunately there's not a lot on this spool, so you want to make sure you know what you're doing with it so you don't waste it. But here we go. So I just wanted to put a little bit so it would be cute, and show you what you can do with very little supplies that you could purchase at your local Dollar Tree. All right, so we've got a pocket here and in the back. We've got the 3 different layers. We've got some ribbon lace there. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we have to be able to get all 3 of these to stay together. Now my original thought was to do kind of like a traveler's notebook, and put some elastic around it so these could just go in and out. I just didn't have the supplies. Now the projects that I did bring with me for my big trip that I'm on right now were hand stitching projects. So I have my little wool needle book that I carry with me. I like to do embroidery and I like to do wool stitching projects. And so that's what I brought. So normally I would probably use, when I make my journals, I like to use embroidery floss. That has always worked really well for me. But I brought, for my wool projects, I brought this pearl thread, and it's more expensive. So I wouldn't recommend that. that's just what I have. And it works great. So, I mean, if you have this in your stash, please feel free to use it. That's all I had on hand without going to purchase anything else. Now, if I was home, I would use my long arm puncher, a hole puncher, which I absolutely love. And that's what I use to do my pamphlet stitching holes. I don't have that obviously here. So I'm going to attempt to make my holes with this needle. Now, I am sure that you all are going to have a better way to do this because you are at home probably with your supplies. And I'm not. So we're going to see if I can actually do this with my camera going here. And I don't know if I'll be able to, so I might have to shut it off and yeah, I don't have a hole punch. I am going to have to shut this off and then get right back. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3 holes here, and then I'm going to sew this in so that all 3 pieces are sewn together like this is. And I do have videos, how-to videos on my YouTube playlist of how to create junk journals, and on those videos it shows you how to do the pamphlet stitch. So I'm going to be right back. Okay, I am back with you, and I'm going to tell you what I did to get those holes. So like I said, normally I would use my long arm 3-hole punch. Don't have that. I don't recommend this, but this is what I did. I used my little snippers, and I just kind of went in and I made 3 holes. Now, I have used an ice pick before, and awl. So there are different ways to get those holes, whatever method works for you, but please be careful. I don't recommend this, but that's what I had. It worked for me. I was very careful. I did not get hurt. So just be careful on however you get your holes in. Hopefully you have a long arm hole punch, and that works the best. So anyways, I have my 3 holes all the way through. So I have my needle, I have my thread. I am going to go in the middle, and hopefully I can get through all of the layers here. I'm going to go through the middle. I don't know how it's going to come out on the video, guys. I'm sorry if it doesn't do well for you, but this is what I have right now. I'm going to go back up through the holes here. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to go back down through the middle, all the way through. And then I'm going to go back through to get in the middle like this. Okay. Now there are different ways to do this. This is how I learned watching lots of YouTube videos. This works for me. So please don't put negative comments. And I'm sure there's many other ways that work. This is what works for me. Okay. So then I just like to tie a couple knots in the middle and then trim it down about 1 inch. Some people like to keep their threads really long and make like a tassel or put some charms on it, and that is fun too. And I have done that with, junk journaling. But most of the time, like when I sew my signatures in, that's just kind of what I do, and it works. That works well. It keeps everything together nicely. So see, that works really well. 3-hole pamphlet stitch works great when you're sewing your signatures into your journals. Okay. All right. So then if we look back to the journal that I created, I put a side pocket using the little hearts, and I used 3 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of the strips, and I'm going to cut 3 of them down. And I'm just going to glue it right here. So I will use that glue. I'm just going to put glue here and then a little bit on the bottom. So when I put my papers in there, it has something to catch on the bottom and hopefully won't fall through. So I'm just gonna kind of quickly do this. All right, so we're gonna put that on the side. There you go. That is a side pocket, okay? Now you can use your index cards, slide them right in there. You could, and this isn't gonna be a long video, okay? So I'm just gonna try to give you some ideas, but you could take notebook paper, stationery paper, slide it right in there, just like I did to that other one, okay? So moving on, what are some other things we can do? Well, I'm gonna go right to the big notebook in the middle, and I have already, someplace on this messy table, I have already tore out some pages just to embellish it, okay? Now, this video is already getting long, and I think I'm just gonna skip the gluing part. You all know how to glue, so I'm just gonna kind of put it here. But what I will do is I will glue the back. I'm just gonna glue this here. And then I also tore this out of that book, and I am going to end up putting that back here. This is just as embellishments because I love using pictures. Now, the one thing that I did wrong, guys, because I had to leave you for a minute and make holes, and then I got distracted, but what I did is I tore a paper out of that book, and I was gonna put it right here in the middle. I would have done that before I sewed it together, but since I didn't, I made a mistake. That really isn't too big of a deal, because what I will do, I did borrow my grandchildren's glue stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna just use this, and I'm gonna glue both backs here, and I'm gonna glue it right in the middle. So when you're creating these little projects, any oopsies can be fixed. You know, whether you have to tear something out, whether you can glue it in or sew it in, everything can be fixed. So if you get distracted and you forget something, it's not a big deal. These are just, it's homemade and it can all be fixed. So that's what I will do here. I'm just gonna glue this on, but how cute will that be, right? You open that up and you have this adorable little picture there. Now, what I could do is just glue the top and the bottom and then make side pockets. That would be fine. I could just do that to one and make a pocket here and leave this open and maybe some hidden journaling spots there. So that's an option. You know, there's just lots of fun things that you can do. Now, as I flip through this is the back, and I wanted to use one of these because in the journal that I shared with you, I used one section of this little treat box for a pocket, and I want to make sure that I do that. And I'm like I said, I'm not going to be able to do everything on this video just because it's going too long, and I don't want it to be a long video. So I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, there's score lines right here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this smaller section out. And that is the one that I want to use for this pocket, okay? So what I'm gonna do then, I'll do this off camera, but I wanna cover this spot right up. I don't want this showing. So what I will do off camera is I'm gonna glue 1, 2, and 3 sides, and then I will cut another strip of this bulletin board strip so that it can slide in that pocket. This could be a bookmark. This could be a journaling spot. If you have a little photo printer, you could do, you know, a small little photo and put it on there. So there's lots of options that you can do. And then I will also fussy cut one of these hearts, probably the blue one, just so there's some contrast and it stands out. And then I will glue it right at the bottom, just like I did for this one. So there is that portion, that's the section of the treat box. I will go ahead and fussy cut one of those hearts to put on the bottom right here. And then I will have a strip like this to slide into the pocket, okay? And then I will also, on the back page, I will take one of the index cards and I will cut it down and make two little pockets like this, and then put some more index cards. So there are so many different things that you can do with a small amount of supplies that you can get at the Dollar Tree, or, you know, or any of the like Family Dollar, Dollar Generals, or any of that. But I'm just kind of specifically going with the Dollar Tree today. Index cards make wonderful tags to put into pockets. They make, you know, wonderful little pockets. You can cut them down for journaling spots. And then remember this right here, because I'm cutting the video short. This little pocket right here could be made just like this. So what I did was I took 2 pages like this and I folded them down like that. Okay. I know I don't have any of my stuff from back home, so I'm trying to make do here. Sorry if you're not able to see, but anyways, flipping it down like this. I've added some glue to the back so it stays laying down. And then I've glued here and here, and then that creates your cute little pocket, okay? So right here, and then you can put whatever you want in there. You could use these to put some journaling tags in there. You could actually use this. Look at that big spot here. This would be perfect for a photo or for you to add your journaling, and then you could slide that into your pocket. And then you could even use some lace or ribbon to make a little tab. That way you could just pull it out, right? So there are so many different things that you could do. And, you know, for this little guy here, you can fussy cut little images from books, or if you have little playing cards, maybe at the Dollar Tree, you could get some of those word cards, and they have great images. I use those all of the time for different things in the journals. So this video isn't complete, but I certainly hope that I have given you some ideas on some different projects that you could create if you are in a situation where you just don't have a lot of supplies and you're on a budget, and you know you really want to make something cute but don't have a lot to spend. You could buy very little supplies and create something like this, okay? Thanks for coming along. If you could like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.